So we're going to get right into this Porsha Williams, because we got a lot to cover tonight. I ain't trying to be on here all night. So we're going to get right into our first story, which is Porsha Guabadia, aka Porsha Williams, and what she's up to. What's happening here? What is happening here? We know that she is coming back to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I don't talk a lot about this subject here on this channel, but I am a avid watcher and avid fan of the Black Housewives shows. I'm just keeping it real, just the Black Housewives shows. I watch them all. So the Married to Medicines, the Real Housewives of Potomac, and Real Housewives of Atlanta. So I am very aware of what's been happening here, but we have a little update. We know that Porsha is coming back to the Real Housewives of Atlanta for this upcoming season. We know that it was announced a couple weeks ago, and then within a couple days, it was then announced that her husband was illegally here and also allegedly a scammer. And there were, he has a criminal background of credit card fraud, and he was deported out of America, but then illegally came back under another name and then received a green card under a fake name, et cetera, et cetera. And so that led us to here. So according to Michelle A.T. Brown from her YouTube channel, and she also has the blog Straight from the A, she says that Porsha and Simon's divorce is all a scheme that Todd set up to come to us with the BS. The rumor has it that Simon was not in on this latest stunt. Michelle said that according to her sources, Michelle A.T. Brown, for those of you who don't know, has her roots deeply planted in the streets of Atlanta. She knows all the major players there. She knows these housewives people, and people got to talking. She tapped on the shoulders of a few of her acquaintances in those circles, and they was like, girl, let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what's really going on. So she shared it. She's a blogger. That's what they do. I'm sorry, that's what we do. So she says, according to her sources, and they're very, 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 very close sources to this situation, Simon was totally blindsided by the divorce and found out when we all did via the People magazine article that was exclusive that Porsha put out. So Porsha had all this going on in the background. Simon was none the wiser. She says that Simon was really brokenhearted, or is still brokenhearted, and allegedly the immigration and divorce documents circulating were planted by Porsha's camp for maximum publicity. So it wasn't just good enough that she was coming to the show. We needed some little humbug around, and it has made us very interested. Now, I would have been just okay with her coming back, but I will say I'm really curious now what's going to be going down in this time frame before the show come out. We get to see a lot of this behind the scenes. Michelle said that Porsha knew about Simon's immigration issues all along. And actually, she was the one that pushed him to try to get everything resolved. So had Simon himself left everything like it was, he had been here, I don't know what, 30 years or whatever it's been, 20 something to 30 years under this alias, or however he got here, however he was able to get his green card when he got back here. They're saying that Porsha is the person who convinced him, no, babe, you need to go on and make this right, babe. Go to the government. Tell them, hey, I know I'm here illegally, but I want to make this right. Y'all know how that works. Government ain't got no emotions. They're going to be like, oh, you came here illegally and you're under a fraudulent name, but you've made a great life for yourself and you're a multimillionaire. We're going to leave you alone. No, that's not how that works. So the theory that she divorced him because she just miraculously found out about his legal issues don't add up, because it's not true. Allegedly, it's not true. She knew about this, but it makes for a great storyline when you like, I don't like him like that. Thank you to the 97% of you who have hit that like button. If you have not as of yet, or you're watching on the replay, please hit that like button. Definitely goes very far to help this channel grow. It's free to you, but it's very valuable to me. So I really greatly appreciate it. Poll question we're putting out here. Do you believe that Porsha orchestrated this media stunt? Are you believing what I've read thus far? I'm not done, but do you believe it so far? So a few things that align with what Michelle A.T.L.E. Brown has come out with this exclusive tea from behind the scenes. They said, note that the Fulton County Court document system is down due to hackers. So that means us regular bloggers, people who would normally find these things, all you do is search online, search Pacer, go to these different jurisdictions, courthouse, internet, web-based systems, and then you search names and do all of that. It's all been down. Can't none of us outsiders get this information. So whomever got the document would have had to go in person to the courthouse. And how would they even know to do that? That takes work and research to say, hey, let me go to Fulton County Court and see if there's anything that just happens to be anything about Simon out there or whoever else. That's not how it works. We all do it from the comforts of our home offices and studios. Anything that requires us doing too much traveling, unless somebody flying us out, unless you're getting flued out. I got flued out a couple weeks ago. We'll talk about that later. But unless you're getting flued out, we just pretty much stay in our spaces. We don't like to, we don't like to commute and stuff. So how would they know to do that? So it had to be information that was gotten from somebody who was involved in the lawsuit. And then they said the other piece is the People magazine is generally used by the housewives and Bravo themselves for PR, which means that the machine was behind this article. So with the systems being down, how would the writer of the exclusive get access to these documents? So how would the People magazine reporter who had this exclusive get access to the Fulton County documents unless somebody gave them to him? And why hasn't anyone else been able to obtain the divorce documents? So in short, Porsha came up with this to leverage this divorce all the way to the bank via a dynamic storyline for the Real Housewives of Atlanta and her grand return. I mean, the problem is, I'll give you, Bravo, this is great. The problem is there's real people and this is real life involved in it. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. Alice says, Porsha thought that the Underground Railroad was an actual train. I question a little bit. I remember that. I remember that scene and everything. But Porsha's a lot more savvy than we give her credit for. And I'm now starting to wonder if some of that was acting. Some of that acting. Because this is a very elaborate plan, very sinister. And we've seen Porsha move, weave and dodge and weave to get Rolls Royces from these African gentlemen in Atlanta and houses and all of these sort of things. Maybe Porsha ain't as slow as she wanted y'all to think she is. Says the further part of it that Michelle A.T.L.E. shared was that the prenup is that Porsha, in the original prenup, Porsha will be able to live in the marital home for at least a year or two. And so that means that Porsha will be able to film this upcoming season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta from this home. And in her filing for the divorce, she stated that she wanted them to enact the prenup as agreed. So she gets to put Simon out. They ain't got to deal with that and act like she into him no more. The build demand she was doing, got his teeth fixed, got him to slim down a little bit, probably had a daddy makeover. She got all that done and shined him up because he used to look ashy. She shined him up and everything. And now she like, go on about your business. I did enough for you. Give me a young thing. Give me a bolo. Y'all know she like a bolo. Anyway, so Michelle also went on to say that Simon is not broke. Yes, he may have started his career with credit card scams or whatever he was doing, but he eventually amassed a true wealth. He amassed true wealth. And the thing that he has, these lawsuits with the private jet company for $1 million, you kind of got to have money to even get to that point to owe somebody $1 million. So he's been on the gram. He's been flossing, Simon, trying to prove that he's okay. Although behind the scenes, he's crying. He's depressed, just like anybody else would be if they was bamboozled by their spouse. Anybody really, like anybody you're in love when you're dating, but especially your spouse. He's heartbroken. But for the gram, he on there cheesing. He on golf carts. He went out to the Rolls Royce dealership, talking about buying another Rolls Royce. He already has 2 or 3 of them. So Simon is doing his thing. Then you have this, his friend, Peter Thomas. We all know Peter Thomas from the show. He's married to Cynthia Bailey. He says, isn't it funny how after a breakup, the true colors come out? One of you lays in bed all day, unable to eat, and can't even fake a smile, and the other one just moves on like it's nothing. Then his caption was, wow, I know that a lot of y'all have experienced one of these roles before. I do hope it isn't the one that is completely disabled, because that's the most effed up place to be in. If you're going through that, I pray for you. If God closed that door, trust and believe there's a better one getting ready to open for you. Be patient. So this is, coded basically to his friend based on the Atlanta streets talking to Michelle A.T.M. Brown. So they're saying that Porsha and Simon had come back to the States after they hung out for a little while. They was on the gram doing all kind of stuff. And then Simon ended up going to Costa Rica after their trip so that he could sell one of his properties there. On his way back home, probably on the private jet he owed $1 million to, on his flight back is where he saw the news of the divorce being released, just like the rest of us. So when the rest of us got news of it in social media, he's on his phone, scrolling. What? Huh? What? Me? My wife? What? She doing what? That. And they said prior to that, when he left home, things were great. They had just come off a vacation. There was no conversation about breakups or divorces, and there was no anger. He was blindsided. That's what they're saying. They're also saying, according to the streets, as told to Michelle A.T.L. Brown, Porsha had already moved on. Porsha allegedly has moved on to a new man who happens to be a married African man. I'm sure he owns Rolls Royce. She got a type. A married African man whose name begins with a C. They know his name in the streets, but they have not yet released it. So Porsha's coming back. Candy, you wasn't doing this, Candy Burris. You wasn't giving us this. Sometimes you got to orchestrate some stuff. Sometimes life is a little humdrum. You're just making your millions here, there. You're opening your business here, there. You got your sex toys flying all over the room. That ain't enough. We need this kind of stuff. It ain't nice. I ain't saying it's nice, but this is good TV. It ain't even came on yet. These about to be the highest ratings y'all done seen in years. Good job, Porsha. Good job. I understand. My condolences for you, Simon. I don't know how this is going to work out. I don't know if she's going to be like, baby, I was just playing. I needed to do this, and I needed to not have you in on it because I needed to have you be shocked because you're not a good actor. So I had to do this, but I love you, baby. This ain't no real divorce. This is for TV. This is for the people. Let's get this contract done. Let's get some more millions. I don't know what's happening behind the scenes except for what's been shared, but I don't know. Poll question I'm closing out. Do you believe that Porsha orchestrated this media stunt? 73% of you think so. 27% of you are like, nah, this is just kind of how things work. Life is like this. I find it interesting that we ain't heard from, I ain't gonna say heard from, Porsha been in the social media streets doing taking pictures for the gram and stuff. But since her wedding, which wasn't even televised, we ain't really seen a lot of buzz around Porsha. Not like this. She announced that she's coming back to the show, and then within a week or so, all of this. That makes us interested in what's coming up for next season. Some of y'all think that's just how life works. That's a coincidence. The rest of us understands how social media and reality TV now works. They coincide with each other. The show begins before the show begins, if you know what I mean.
Ayy, poppin' like I'm supposed to. Watch out for the people that ain't close to. Speak a little something you could toast to. I ain't tryna hear about what you won't do.